What is up, Canes fans? It is the Real Ones Canes podcast. He is Cam Underwood, managing editor, State of the U. Check it out, stateoftheu.com. Follow Cam Underwood Sports on the Twitter sphere. I'm Brian the Beast London. Follow me at Miami Radio Beast. Can you hear the somber and downtrodden tone in my voice? It is because we come to you the morning after the University of Miami dropped their first game of the season against the University of Louisville at home. Hard Rock Stadium, 24-21 was the final. And I have so many thoughts, Cam, so many thoughts. But I think I'd like to start here because I'm sure we'll dissect every aspect of this, which is that game to me last night was a programmatic loss. I've seen people coming at me with, it was Mario, it was Carson, it was the defense, it was this, it was the crowd, it was the PA system, it was all things. Guess what? It was all of that and more. It wasn't just one thing. It was everything.
It was the popcorn vendors. It was
Yes.
It was the beer kegs. It was the tap lines. It was the plumbing in the bathrooms, the lighting in the stadium. It was turn 14 of the F1 track outside. It was center court from the tennis area. It was that one cop over there on 199th, kind of halfway down between them. Look, honestly, it was probably some of you and some of me. Because it was everybody and everything. And before I let you continue,
this is all you.
I'm just going to say, Mario Cristobal has been fanatical about reminding everyone at every opportunity how you do anything is how you do everything. So I agree with you. This is a program loss, top to bottom, front to back, inside out. And even Keontae Scott, who was hooping and had an incredible game, he had a couple bad plays. Sorry. I'm so sorry, boss. We win as a team, we lose as a team. This is on you too. Malachi Tony did his Superman best to do everything. I'm sorry, boss. You had a couple bad plays. That's all you too. You know what I mean? Hey, we're in this together. One band, one sound, all that. But how you do anything is how you do everything. And there is more than enough blame to go on each and every single person associated with this program. And it is, that is a program failure. That is a program failure against a team that collectively does not have as much talent as Miami.
No.
But they had two dudes on offense in Chris Bell and Isaac Brown, the Homestead native, who this man, I believe he went to more than 10 camps and recruiting events as a high schooler, because Homestead High School is always there for every team camp, for every individual camp. And he begged for a Miami offer. I mean, begged. And we paid him dust and said, absolutely, TF not.
Well, the way you put it to me in the press box last night was like, we didn't even tell him, hey, take a hike. We just basically turned the shoulder. We just
basically were like, oh, you want to come to Miami? That's cool. Hey, so are we getting pastelitos? And we just kept it moving. And as Isaac Brown had 15 carries for 130 or 115 yards, some really big carries to really help that team get into position. 15 from 113, including a 28-yarder, averaged 7.5 yards per rush. So basically, between Bell, who had 9 catches for 136 and 2 tuds, he was 60% of the passing offense by himself. Isaac Brown had 113 yards. They ran for 119 total. I'm not good at math, so I'm going to do this right here live.
Are you trying to figure out a percentage? Because it's a lot.
It was 94.9% of the rushing offense. So basically, 2 dudes on offense beat you. So, and I say that to say, I just want to wrap this point up.
Yeah.
While Isaac Brown was doing that, the player that Miami ignored him to put on this roster played 0 snaps. Facts are facts, my guy. And if you're looking at the years and you're doing the calculus of who's the player that we ignored, Isaac Brown, and there were many people locally who were like, dude, you need to. I was not one of them. I was not really apprised to the Isaac Brown thing. I know that there were lots of people. If you look at other websites like Kane's Insight, for sure, those guys, because they live further south than they saw him. And that's not necessarily an excuse because I blog about recruiting, so I should have been more hip to game. That's on me. But there were many people locally who were like, y'all are making a big mistake. And we paid that man dust for a specific running back because we only took 2 in that class. And the one that we ignored him for played 0 snaps.
Well, it would have to be. I'm trying to think of which. I can't think this hard in the morning.
Okay. I'm not going to put the kid's name out there just because I mean, that's really unfair to the other kid to put his name out there. But the fact that he played 0 snaps while Isaac Brown was out there hooping with his whole family and the whole hood basically up from Homestead.
Oh, yeah.
Because you ignored him. And yeah. So look, again, how you do anything is how you do everything. And so how they did that recruitment was terrible.
Before I want to do this like backwards, right? Because I think we could spend a lot more time on the offense. So we'll start with the defense.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah. We'll switch it up. So I have 2 thoughts.
Okay.
One is I still think Corey Heatherman's a really good defensive coordinator. Mm-hmm. But if I know, listen, you know way more ball than I do, but in my years of watching ball as a defense, you try to take something away from the other team, right? So either you're going to try to stop Brown or you're going to try to stop Bell, right? And make the other guy be their entire offense and beat you, right? Kind of like how Louisville made Malachi Toney the only thing that Miami was able to really get going. And it wasn't enough, but we'll get to that. And as you laid out, we stopped neither guy. We were unable to stop neither guy. And the other thing on the defense was, this is where it goes hand in hand, is Louisville's offensive attack was one in which it basically completely took away Ruben Bain and Akeem Mesidor. And I think I don't know what the final stat was, but at like some point I looked like in the 3rd quarter or something, we had 1 quarterback hurry. We did get 1 sack, but that came from a safety, I think.
Keontae Scott on the nickel blitz.
Yeah, nickel, yeah. So basically, the entire strength of our defense, which is the front 4, especially those 2 on the outside, were completely taken out of the game plan because of what Louisville was doing on offense. And when a guy that is arguably the best at his position in the country can't get anywhere near your quarterback, you're doing a good job.
Yeah, we ended with 3 total hurries.
Okay.
There was there was the sack by Keontae Scott. He had another hurry later. And then Ahmad Moten is credited with 2 on the official stat book.
I'll take it. That's fine.
Yeah, Jeff Brom is going to chef it up. And he's one of the best offensive play callers in America. I said this going in. He had an extra week because both teams were coming off of a bye. And Miami's everybody's Super Bowl. They're going to pull out all the stops. They're going to do all of the things. You can see this over the course of many years. In terms of, it was just a quick passing attack. Yeah. It was just, they said, look, their offensive line was one of the worst in captivity by performance and rating and everything, whether you look at advanced stats or raw statistics through the first 5 games. And they said, we don't have the talent to really block Miami. Excuse me.
You're excused.
And so And they're like, cool, we're going to get the ball out quick. We're going to run the ball a lot. We're not going to take 5 and 7 step drops and let those dudes win up front. And you can look and see, like, Miami was winning up front in the pass game, but the ball's already out.
Yeah, correct.
So that was the clear thing. And like when Miller Moss was made to hold the ball a little bit, because sticky coverage, then you just saw, oh God, like he's running around for his life. And I mean, there was the first third down stop on the third drive of the game. There was a guy open, and so he was scrambling to his left.
Yes, correct.
And he just couldn't hit him. And it's just like,
correct.
Oh yeah, if it's not real quick, if he has to, let me go through, let me hold this ball because like I didn't want to throw the interception right there. He had nothing. Like, I mean, yeah, anyways, so there was that. In terms of taking away things, Isaac Brown is just really good, man.
I get it.
Of tackles. And also with Brom chefing it up, they zigged when Heatherman zagged a couple times. Like there were a couple 3rd and longs was like, oh, we're going to really, pass commit. We're going to, drop a bunch of dudes. We're going to sim this pressure, but only bring 4. And it's going to be 3 linemen and a blitz. And then one of the linemen drops out and then into the area vacated by the lineman. They're like, let's run a sprint draw.
Yeah. With
Isaac Brown, one of the fastest dudes in the stadium. All of a sudden, 3rd and 12 is 1st and 10 because he got 20. And you're like, what the heck? So like there was that. And I think that was part and parcel of, just, being very, very prepared. I wrote it early. I tweeted it early in the game and I stand by this. Brom coached circles around Heatherman.
Yeah, for sure.
And it wasn't like it was entirely those first 2 scripted drives like that. Defense had no answers. Past that, I think it was a little more even. I definitely give credit to Heatherman for making some adjustments. After Louisville scored touchdowns on their first 2 drives, Miami forced punts on 4 consecutive drives.
Yep, that is true.
So, there was that. The main thing is it was simple scheme, but it wasn't really even the X's and O's. It was the Jimmies and the Joes.
Well, well, there's a couple sides of that, right? Which is yes, but we missed tackles when we couldn't afford to. In a game that we could not afford to miss tackles, we missed tackles.
And that's not a scheme issue. The scheme put the player there, right? The issue is that guy couldn't make the play that was there to be made. That's what I mean when I say it came down to the Jimmies and the Joes. Also, specifically, we have seen the flaws in O.J. Frederick previously with being not great in contested ball catch situations, whether it was last year against Syracuse, whether it was this year against Notre Dame, whether it was this year against Florida. We've seen that as one of the areas for growth in his game. That one, I believe you can have skill develop to close that gap. And the other thing that we saw yesterday is not a thing that I believe that you can close the skill gap. Louisville just said, you cannot run with Chris Bell. You can't do it. And it manifested itself in a different way than you think, because it wasn't 9 routes.
Oh, I know what you're about to say. Go ahead.
Say it for me then.
No, go ahead. No, go ahead.
It was mesh.
Yes! Yes.
Mesh being a concept where you have crossers at like 4 and 5 yards and they cross opposite through the middle. You're looking for the natural pick of the umpire and the linebackers and whatever.
Or a rub and boom and
Right. And then the other receivers coming the other way and you got another defender. And look, I'm not saying it was illegal or anything. They ran a great concept. It's a concept that everybody runs. We run the concept. We scored the first touchdown of the year on the mesh concept the last 2 years, if you go back and look at it. But my point was, they said, hey, the field is 53 1/3 yards wide, minus however many, from the sideline, you're aligned, right? If that's a 40-yard dash from where you're lined up to the other sideline, you can't run with him. And on top of that, you can't run with him, one, and two, you can't run with him, and you're going to have to run through an obstacle course, American Ninja Warrior, to try to do that, and you can't run with him to begin with. Mesh. And you saw that on the first touch. He's trying. I don't think that's a gap you can close. On the second mesh, if you actually mesh touchdown, because both touchdowns were scored on the same concept.
Right.
Now it was packaged differently with some of the the alignment, and it was like Bill Walsh, West Coast offense. You run the same concepts out of different formations and alignments, and you have different tweaks and tags on it. So you might be meshed with a rail, might be meshed with a post, might be meshed with a dig, whatever. But the crosser part of mesh is the same. So the first one was man-to-man. They go across. Chase Smith, I believe it was guarding the running back in the slot. He's going outside because they're running that version of it with a running back flat. A quick little shoulder kind of exchange with O.J. Frederick. Chris Bell is 3 steps ahead. Bob's your uncle. Cue up the band. Yeah. The second one, they ran mesh again, and Miami played zones. Corey Heatherman said, "Hey, baby, we got you. You want to try to hit us with a man beater? We're going to play zone." Chris Bell found an empty spot in the zone.
Yep.
And then Louisville just said, "Hey, none of y'all can run with this man because the closest defender was Mo Toure. You ain't got a shot in hell against Chris Bell."
Chance. Yeah.
And when he caught the ball, there were 5 Miami defenders between where Chris Bell was and the end zone, and he scored untouched. That's not a thing. Now, I posited it at the beginning as an O.J. Frederick issue because they did also get another couple plays on this in man-to-man coverage where he just couldn't keep up. It was not exclusively that, but yeah, we did not. I mean, eventually there was a PBU on a mesh play kind of where they were running zone and then the receiver checked up into the open space or whatever. But yeah, that was it. That was your ball game. Well, not that specifically, but I mean, in terms of the passing offense, like Miller Moss was not. I mean, he was like a 54% passer, but he hit those 2, and all of a sudden it's 62% with 2 touchdowns. But yeah, we didn't have an answer, and they just said, "Look, you." And again, it comes down to the Jimmies and the Joes. We did not have guys who are fast enough to contend with Isaac Brown or Chris Bell. Full stop. That's what I mean. On the defensive side, that's why Miami lost the game.
Yeah. And again, I do want to give credit to the Braun brothers who knew exactly what they were facing and changed what they needed to change in order to take advantage of their speed and the limitations of their quarterback in order to put him in a position to succeed against our defense.
Yeah, and Zachariah Poyser said after the game, they did stuff that we hadn't seen. They did stuff that wasn't on film. You
can't give a mad scientist an extra week to prepare for something.
I'm not. I don't know Jeff Brom. I don't purport to follow or really know the inner workings of the Louisville program. I'm just going off of what I see, right? So he hates Miami because he does more crazy stuff against Miami out of necessity, but I think also out of desire. Like, I don't know what it is on the outside looking in because they're a conference team. They got some guys from down here. P.S. TJ Capers, who went to Columbus, had the interception on the game-losing play for Miami, the 4th interception of Carson Beck. He shuts up more stuff, and he is much more, even for someone who is a mad scientist, even for somebody who is aggressive, he is more diverse. He is more outlandish and more aggressive against Miami than any other team that they play, Kentucky inclusive, for the in-state rivalry. And hey, that's fine. We've earned that status of being everybody's Super Bowl. But yeah, so he has figured that out. And some of the things that were done, I think that we should have seen coming. Specifically on the defensive side, I am still shocked, appalled, flabbergasted, and as angry as could possibly be that we were not prepared for the fake field goal on the first drive.
Well, so Mario said that they did have the right call in for that play and that it was just not executed the way it was supposed to be.
I don't believe you. I don't believe you.
I mean,
or I don't believe Mario. I don't believe it. I don't.
Okay, good. Because I was telling you, I'm not lying about what Mario said. So
sorry, I wanted. That was directed at Mario's statement.
Good.
I was there sitting 2 rows behind you in the interview room. I heard him say the same thing. I tweeted it out when he said it. I heard him say that. I don't believe the fact that you put out the field goal defense team,
right?
The field goal block team on 4th and 2 from the 4-yard line on the first drive of the game against the Jeff Brom coached Louisville team, and you expect? No, I don't believe you. I do not believe you, Mario, that you had the right call, that you had, if you were to do it again, if we were to say, you know what, crazy. I don't know. We're living in a multiverse. Game didn't happen yesterday. We go back. I'm sitting next to you on my left, Brandon on my right. We go back to the stadium tonight. Same first drive happens. I guarantee you the defense that would be out there in formation, personnel, and alignment would be different than what we saw in that first 4th down attempt on the fake field goal. I categorically do not believe that Mario is being truthful. I do not believe it. And I get that you have to say what you have to say to cover for whomever, if it's for Corey Heatherman, if it's for whoever the special teams coordinator is, if it's to try to assuage or, to get some of the guilt that you feel for not stepping in and being like, hey, we need to do this and we need to whatever. I get that there are reasons why he's trying to sell me this bill of goods. I'm not buying it. And again, from personnel, alignment, and, the scheme that they're going to go through, I do not believe if we face that same thing against the same team in the same situation, if the game was being played again tonight, it would be the same. I don't believe it. And you hear the anger and emotion in my voice. I am still flabbergasted that we went out there in field goal regular again.
Yeah. See, at that point, in that situation, knowing who you're facing, their mindset, and the nature of their offense and what have you and what they're doing, I would surrender the field goal. I would sell out against a fake, basically. I would line up and protect the end zone and what they could possibly do out of that formation at all costs. And if they want to just kick the field goal, fine, give them the 3. Go ahead.
And that's why, you saw multiple times later when Louisville went to punt, they left the base defense out there, took a safety out, and then just said, Malachi, go back there. So it was 10 dudes playing defense and a punt returner because we're not doing this again, right? And then you mean to tell me that what you did before was who, where, and how you intended to defend that play? Even though I know that there are differences between punts and field goals, because people are going to say, well, Cam, you're talking about field goals, a fake field goal versus a punt return. I get it. I understand. But my point is they are analogous in that it was very clear we had a plan to combat this thing here that looked like a plan versus we're trying to disguise that we're playing defense. So we bring in the whole regular field goal block team, as opposed to which has some non-starters in it, which has some guys, you know what I mean? As opposed to just putting the starting defense out there. The starting defense got them to 4th and 2 on the 4-yard line. We're going to take them off the field and we're going to have them in a different alignment that is less effective. You see what I'm saying? You see how,
I'm with you, man.
What I believe, what Mario is trying to sell us doesn't pass logical muster. And there are people who know more ball than me. Please get in the comments and let me know if I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, I am not someone who is opposed to admitting when I am wrong. I told y'all that I was wrong about Isaac Brown as a recruit, right? But I'm a blogger, podcast, opinion head, talking head and everything. There are people in the building. There needs to be somebody in the building who's right. And there are multiple people who are right, but we just didn't make that choice. But I've already admitted in this here show, hey, I was wrong. And if you hop in the comments and say, Cam, you're being absolutely wrong, you missed this, cool. I will rewatch the game when it comes on whenever, so that I can see it in the TV copy. But yeah, I just do not agree or believe what Mario is trying to sell me about that fake field goal. And it obviously I've waxed poetic about it for 5 minutes now, but you understand that, yeah, I'm upset about it.
Also, there's a tinge of what we talked about before the game, which is you really don't like Louisville. So so this definitely hurts. All right, we're gonna take a break. We got a lot more to get to. We got to talk about the offense and the failures there, and we got to talk about coaching and the failures there. And then we got to talk about the outlook for Miami, because if we still have hopes of getting into the playoff, that probably means not losing another game. So we will do all of that and more on the other side. Hey, do me a favor, subscribe wherever you're watching this or listening to this. Subscribe, hit the thumbs up, hit the like button, make a comment. We've had a really, as we've gone on the last few weeks, we're getting a bunch more people dropping into the comments on YouTube, and I love that stuff going back and forth. Let's create a community around the show. Let's do that. So I appreciate all you guys. We will take a break. We'll be back with more on the other side. It's the Real Ones Canes podcast. And we're back on the Real Ones Canes podcast, the recap show as Miami loses to Louisville at Hard Rock 24-21. I'm the Beast, Brian London. Follow me at Miami Radio Beast. He is Cam Underwood, managing editor, State of the U. Follow Cam at Underwood Sports. And Cam, already great content up at stateoftheu.com from last night's debacle. Tell the people what they can check out at stateoftheu.com.
Yeah, in storm and sunshine, we're always here. So, people are like, oh, well, you're not going to say anything, or you duck smoke, or you're going to look. Brian and I both have been doing this for way too long. Yep. So you're not going anywhere. And neither are we at State of the U. We're going to be here. So already after each game, we have the immediate recap, Craig T. Smith. We have the 3 stars of the game from Michael Schiffman, and then the central piece, the reason that most people probably know our website, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly recap of every single game, written by yours truly, already with 29 comments. And you can see that I was up late to 2:39 in the morning is when I finished and posted this. So we have, I'll actually open it up really quickly. I don't know why it always does this, but anyways, so we start with the good. Usually up top say, win, because winning is great, but we didn't do that. All kinds of things, and embedding, tweets and videos and things like that. The bad and the ugly. And I'm going to stop sharing there. So you cannot get all of that great content without actually going to the website. But so we went through that, and then some team grades and evaluation there as well, offense, defense, special teams, and coaching. I already see that Justin DeTavio, our resident coach at the website and one of our lead contributors, is working on the film review, which should be up probably tomorrow, because usually we just kind of let the Saturday be Saturday. But it might be up today. So that's something to, I don't know if it's looking forward to, but that exists in your near future, and much, much more for the low, low price of free. So stateoftheu.com, please come over and fan with us. We really do our best to bring content to the people. And, this past week, I wrote 2 features. One that the Miami Hurricanes are the bullies of Mario Cristobal's dreams, and another one that even bullies struggle to knock other teams out. So that's some great commentary and analysis for you to get into. And trust and believe, I've already been marinating on a couple other things for this week, because even though I posted The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly at 2:39 in the morning, I did not go to bed till 4:47 because my brain was on, Brian. So there will be other commentary forthcoming.
Speaking of that, I was up at 5:30. Just happened to, rolled over, opened my eyes, and decided I needed to start looking at the run game, because it has been not so great the last couple of games. Last night, 11 of 16 runs were up the middle. And as we dive into the offense, the running game has averaged 2.8 yards per carry over the FSU and the Louisville game. Cam, we looked it up before we started the show. The games through the Florida game, so the first 4 games of the season, we were at 4.8 yards per carry. Now, some of that is going to be kind of misaligned because of Bethune-Cookman and games where we were not facing. Although,
not really though. Hold on. Season stats. I want to actually go back because, as I was looking at it and on the official stats, where did it go? Rushing. Where's ours? Hold on. Did I go too far? Yeah. Look, 134 against Notre Dame on 38 carries, and 199 on 30 carries against Bethune. 205 on 38 against USF, and then 184 against. It was pretty because we were just eating against everybody. It wasn't. We didn't have a 400 yard game.
You're right. And when you're right. The bottom line is we were running the ball much better through the first 4 games than we have been the last 2 games. I don't know why that is. Yes, Carson Beck and Mario will tell you, well, the other team has watched film and they're going to try to stop us and what we do best, and we run the ball. So they're going to try to sell out against the run, which is great. It's fine. But when you're supposed to have, and I believe we do have, one of the best offensive lines in the country, you should be able to find a way to run the football. And we have not been able to run the football. And we're going to talk about Carson Beck's 4 interceptions because they were horrible. And I know he said that there was a miscommunication in the last play, and we'll get to that because you and I and Brandon and Manny Navarro got into that in the concourse last night after the press conference. But when you can't run the ball, it makes things very difficult on your entire offense.
You're not wrong.
And when you tend to run the ball in one locale on the field, i.e. up the middle in one way or another, if we all know that, sitting there watching from the press box or the stands, I'm pretty sure defensive coordinators have picked up on that as well. That also makes things hard.
I mean, you see what's happened the last 2 games. Florida State and Louisville just said, we're bringing everybody. Like, if you are a defender inside the hashes, bring your ass to the football when they run it. Like, if you have a run key, let's go every single time. And I wrote it in the good, the bad, and the ugly. I need to see some diversity in the run game. And I know that Shannon Dawson has said, well, the screen game is an extension of the run game, and that's really the outside run element. Running the ball is running the ball. Full stop. And we need to do better. Every game that I see an outside run scheme, whether that's stretch, whether that's outside zone, whether that's strong power, whether that's toss, whatever, I make such a big deal about it when I'm live tweeting it. Oh my God, stretch play, Mark Fletcher, 10 yards. I do that because it sticks out like a sore thumb. We need more of that. And I know that every play is not the same. And I get that there's inside zone and wham and smash and power. And, I get smash as a passing concept, but you get what I'm saying. I understand that there are tons of inside run concepts. So, hey, maybe we tried to run ISO one time and then it didn't work after we motioned the tight end. Then we ran split zone. Then we ran wham. Then we ran duo. The play, remember a couple weeks ago when Shannon Dawson showed off the dimples? He was like, oh, yeah, I love running duo. And Alex Mirabal comes over. He's like, hey, let's run duo and run it again because Notre Dame can't stop it, or Florida or USF. Oh, my God, we love running duo. But if duo's not working, you got to have something else. And with an overwhelming preponderance of Miami's runs being not even just between the tackles, but between the guards, you got to do something different, my guy. I'm sorry. But we have to be able to run the ball. And as I was talking to a friend of mine on the late drive home, because I left before I finished the good, the bad, and the ugly, because I was like, I'm not going to be the last person in the press box tonight. No. I just was going to come home and finish it, which I did. My friend was like, well, we don't have the players in the backfield to run these outside run schemes. I won't say the colorful language that I told that person, but you're going to not get far with me trying to say that Miami is untalented in the running back room. Now, do I always want to run Mark Fletcher on a toss to the boundary to try to catch the edge and then, run past everybody? No. Can he run outside schemes? Yes. Marty Brown? Also. Hi. Jordan Lyle. Hi. You know what I mean? Like, Chris Wheatley-Humphrey is on this roster because purportedly he's fast and he averaged 11.2 yards per carry at South Broward. You mean to tell me that we don't have anybody who has the capabilities physically or the skill attributes to run outside? Like, it was filth, Lauren filth. I cursed at my good friend. I cursed him a blue streak when he said that. But yeah, the run game has been putrid is probably too nice a word for what the run game has been. And the run game being the foundation of this offense, we have seen ancillary, not benefits, but demerits or other impacts negatively on this offense. Mainly, play action don't work. So Carson Beck is a different quarterback without play action. But yeah, the run game has quickly disappeared. And in the next week, we got to go find it because you're going to need it, especially when you go on the road 3 times in November.
Yep, for sure. Go into some cold weather destinations. You may be dealing with weather, maybe dealing with wind. You may be dealing with snow at some point. So, yeah, you need to find your ground game. So that's that aspect. I'm just, as it relates to the run game, because Alex Mirabal really, I'm not sure if he has the title or not, but he's basically the run game coordinator, right? And I'm just wondering, and Mario Cristobal, basically him and Alex are attached at the waist and are basically, it's like 2 heads on 1 body kind of a thing, or 1 body, 2 heads. I don't know how you want to put that, but I'm just wondering if their sense of the ability of the offensive line is in any way, shape, or form miscalculated. And there's some hubris involved with, hey, we got these guys up front. We can do whatever we want. And it's just not working.
Maybe there's a measure of hubris. I think that I think that that's not a crazy thought, because there is, I think that we're seeing the negative impacts of hubris with, I don't know when we're going to get to them, but number 11, your quarterback in mind.
Yeah, we're going to get to him next. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so it stands to reason then that there is, yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's hubris or just stubbornness or whatever you want to call it, but insanity, doing the same thing, expecting a different, result. Shannon Dawson continues to call inside run plays, and at the behest probably of Alex Mirabal, but like it all goes together. So like, why, like, even 4th and 1 conversions by Marty Brown are getting like 1.5 yards or 2, which, given the context, is a successful play, and we love that. But like, dude, like, you got to, yeah, it can't continue to be this.
All right, let's talk about Carson Beck.
Do we have to?
I mean, it's. I have a couple thoughts. One, we kind of, like, for lack of a better way of saying this, like, this is kind of the quarterback that he is or was, and now is back to that. Like, he's thrown interceptions. I think he gets greedy and tries to make a throw that possibly his arm's not capable of making. A couple of those interceptions last night, had he gotten the ball far enough out in front of a receiver, it's a possibility it's a touchdown and not an interception. And and the last one is like he said, hey, there was he basically was throwing the blame on the receiver for running the wrong route or not being in the right spot. But we talked about this in the concourse. Like, both things can be true. The receiver could have run the wrong route, but also you threw it. You didn't make a good throw there. So that could be true.
I don't think that he threw him under the bus. I know that my synopsis of what he said at that point definitely had my personal emotion in it. And I saw there were many people who were responding, well, he's throwing his receiver. And I was like, that he didn't say that. And I don't even think that he said it between the lines. So he just, hey, like, the call was the call. We had an adjustment. There was miscommunication. When miscommunications happen, you can have turnovers and things like that. Boom. So, whatever. It's a miscommunication. It is what it is. But I put on my Cam Underwood vitriol of being pissed off after we lost onto Carson Beck's words and presentation. He didn't throw Elijah Lofton under the bus as much as my recap, of what he said in that tweet might have made it seem.
I mean, me sitting in the front row, I really felt like he was throwing someone under the bus.
Oh, okay.
I mean, that like, as soon as he said it, I was like, really? That's what we're doing? Like, he didn't say names, and he said it as politely as you could say it.
Okay.
But that's still kind of like what I took away is like, oh no, he's basically put all of the blame on somebody else not being in the right spot.
Well, I mean, as the communicator, it's on him because, like, if there's a miscommunication, that means you didn't communicate, buddy. So I hear you. I mean, hey, we look at it a little bit differently, and that's perfectly fine. I don't think that you're crazy. I don't think anybody's crazy. I just know that, when people were responding to what I did when I was live tweeting the presser, which you could hear a pin drop in that room.
Yeah, they could.
The entire night. Mario definitely had his shortest availability post game of this year by far. And yeah, I don't envy the sports information department in nights like that, because you had, assistant SID going in the locker room and saying, okay, we need somebody to go talk to the media. And Zach Poyser had a big game. Cool. David Blay. David Blay was so visibly pissed.
Oh yeah, he didn't want to be there. He didn't want to answer questions. And he was definitely really pissed off at their performance. Like, no doubt. And it was also like we got like what, 3 players, maybe 4?
4. It was.
We got 4: Malachi, Poisner, Blay, and Beck.
Yeah. And we sat there for a while after Blay because his answers were so quick and short. Whatever. Cool. And then it was just like, are we getting Carson tonight? Or, and then finally Carson faced the music because he had to. And I don't want to get away from his performance because I want to talk more.
Yeah, I want to get back there.
And we waited for almost 8 minutes after Carson before, like, we were like, are we done? Because, like, and then finally they pulled Malachi Tony, who had, 9 catches for 135 and no tuds, but, a rushing touchdown and a 2-point conversion throw. Yeah, but it was crazy. In terms of Carson, and I want to get, I know that we've taken this aside, and maybe that's me, maybe that's you, but a lot me. In terms of the other interceptions, not the final play of offense. After 2 interceptions, you gotta change something up, buddy. And he's a limited passer, and that first interception down the middle to Malachi Tony, if you throw that ball on time and if you have a strong enough arm, that's a touchdown. And I know that there were They ended up with 3 dudes because they were playing, whatever the coverage was, right? And the backside guy made a nice play, and Malachi Tony was open by 2 steps. Like if you have a strong enough arm,
sure. Yeah,
that's to the apartments. To steal a phrase from my good friend, he hits his head on the goalpost, he's gone. And it doesn't matter that you had a 10-yard cushion and you're bailing and you got fluid hips and you flipped him. That because he motioned inside, goes, stick, nod, quick, just a little move. That's to the apartments. And you miss a guy, the one with the pump and go, that was never on. And even if you think, cool,
was that the one in double cover? Which one was the one in double coverage? There was 2
the
guys
first one,
there.
the Malachi down the middle.
No. It was the second one I'm thinking of.
The one up the sideline on the pump and go?
Yes.
Yeah.
There was 2 defenders there.
Even if you think, if I see the defender stop his feet, I believe Keelan Marion is faster and will get on top of that defender. Again, you don't have the arm to get it there, which we've seen, right? So even if you think I got a runner, a track star out there, so even if he stops his feet ever when I pump, we can go up top. The ball didn't make it up top, my guy. That's on you. You know what I mean? It just, you gotta, credit to Louisville. They made some good plays. And they played coverage in the way that Florida State could not. When they said, hey, you're going to have to beat us up top. You're going to have to do that if you want to win this game. And I tweeted it after the first interception. That ball hung up there like a hot air balloon, boy.
Oh, yeah.
Like it just, it was a leaf in the wind. It didn't have, and again, if you have a strong enough arm now, and I think that Carson Beck's arm is average to begin with. I don't know if it's a little bit weaker after his elbow injury or whatever, but if the quarterback out there had a strong enough arm, that first play is a touchdown to Malachi Tony. Carson Beck completed 72% of his passes, and it felt like it was a 50% passing day. And I know that there were a lot of, now screens and whatnot, but it's just not good enough. And there are all kinds of Georgia people. Oh, this is the Carson Beck that we told you all about. Da-da-da. This is the worst game of Carson Beck's career. And I said that previously with the Florida game. So now I believe he's played the 2, or at worst, 2 of the worst 3 games he's ever played in the last 3 games for Miami. You're not going to win like that.
No, it's the most interceptions a Miami quarterback has thrown since Stephen Morris in 2013, I think. Something like that.
And the most Carson Beck has ever thrown, because previously it was no tuds, 3 interceptions in a win against Texas last year, I want to say.
So a couple of things. I said this last night in the press conference to Gary Furman. And it pains me that I have to sit next to him in the press conference, but it is what it is. Not as bad as who you have to sit next to upstairs in the press box, but that's a whole different story.
I sit next to Brandon in the press box, sir.
Oh, yeah. Well, 1 seat down from you. Anyways, which I don't know why he was touching my shoulder last night every time he walked by, but that's neither here nor there. So I feel like this offense has pretty much become basically like a one-trick pony with a little CJ Daniels mixed in, which is it's Malachi Tony to Malachi Tony to Malachi Tony. Give it to Malachi Tony. It's all about Malachi Tony. Get it to Malachi Tony. I get it. Kid's phenomenal. He could be an All-American, not just a freshman All-American, but an All-American. But David Hale, who covers the ACC for ESPN, puts out this stat. Malachi Tony and CJ Daniels, 36 catches on 46 targets and 4 touchdowns. All other wide receivers and tight ends, 18 catches on 30 targets, no touchdowns.
It is very much, I don't know if you guys remember this Looney Tunes cartoon when Bugs Bunny is playing baseball. And it's first base Bugs Bunny, pitcher Bugs Bunny, pitcher Bugs Bunny, second base, third base, shortstop, left field. That's Pretty much it. And I mean, and then you sprinkle in some CJ Daniels. But I mean, it's a lot. Like yesterday, the offense was Malachi Tony running, Malachi Tony catching,
Malachi Tony throwing.
And it's funny, a good friend of mine, JP, was just like, after the superstar game at Florida State, he was like, yo, I after they were talking about Malachi having played quarterback in high school, I looked up his highlights as quarterback from American Heritage last year. Oh my God, when are we going to, do trick plays with him throwing the ball? And so many people were like, one, great. Two, shut up, because don't put it out there because we're going to do it. And they didn't just call the one on the 2-point conversion. They called a throwback double pass that Louisville correctly defended earlier, which
you had no one to throw it to.
But in that one, I questioned the design, because why are you having a right-handed player go to their left, stop, and then look? But on the 2-point play, what did you do? He's going from left to right, running to his dominant hand. But it should be the same thing, right? Because, and I get if people are saying, well, Cam, you can be right-handed and throw from the left side of the field. True. But they motioned him from right to left to catch that going to his left. It wasn't a triple stack, and there was two in front, or it wasn't even a double stack with a tight end coming over the crack block, and then he steps back and he's just there. They moved him that way. You know what I mean? That's the difference. It's not saying you can't throw as a right-handed player from the left side of the field. But you need to be sedentary. You need to be there, because then now I'm going this way. Now I got to flip my hips and go differently. It's why you don't have left-handed players playing third base or shortstop. You got to go against yourself and around the world to get in position to throw. It just it's the details of things like that, not the fact that he can't throw the ball, because he can. And you saw he threw a dot in tight coverage of CJ Daniels on the 2-point conversion play. But bro, details.
All right, so we're in agreement. They need to diversify the offense, or maybe they can. Maybe they don't feel like they have a third, fourth option that they can count on. Go ahead.
Oh, me? Thank you. Cam Woodward, State of You. Thanks for first time, long time. What are your thoughts on the one? And I talked to two photographers post game after the conference. I usually always go back to the press box because I leave my gear up there. So there were two photographers up there who were there and have pictures of this, and two other people who noted it at the time. What are your thoughts on the one singular exclusive offensive snap in the red zone for one JoJo Trader?
It's a can of worms, my man. It's such a can of worms. Because let's be honest, there are mitigating factors there that some we may know about and some we may not know about.
Okay.
I don't know that we know the whole story. There's something going on there, whether it has to do with his play on the field or his behavior off the field or whatever it may be.
Mm-hmm.
But certainly coming into the season, I expected him to have a major impact on this offense.
Okay. I agree. I think we all
yes, I have thoughts. I don't really want to give them because I don't know the entire. I don't feel comfortable.
I'm painting you into a corner. Cool.
Yes.
I will use some paint.
What are your thoughts? Feel free.
Exactly. No. I can share thoughts. I think I'm going to do it with this question.
Yeah.
As opposed to giving you a direct answer here. At this point of the season, given the statistic from David Hale that you shared and the lack of real impact from anyone else in the receiver room. Now, I will say Keelan Marion had 5 catches for 33 yards on 6 targets, including a 22-yarder. So he had 4 catches for 11 yards in the now quick screen game, because even a quick screen to Keelan Marion doesn't hit the same as a quick screen to Malachi Tony. And he would be the next guy. But given the lack of a real third receiving option, in spite of whatever may have been or is transpiring with Josiah Trader, do you think at this point the juice is worth the squeeze to give him or anybody else?
Well, where's Josh Moore?
More snaps. Yeah. Now, Josh Moore played, I believe Joshua Moore played 4 snaps.
How many targets?
0.
Did he have a target? Yeah.
No.
So,
but I think that that's also on Carson, because I think that even though he's only 6 games into his collegiate career, Malachi Tony is becoming Xavier Restrepo of give him the ball. He's always open. It's 7-11. Like, regardless of what's called, regardless of the coverage.
No, their offense is not 7-11. It's actually 10-7.
Look at
you. I did there.
Look at you. Look at you. But I'm saying, but given the lack of a third option, even in spite of what, again, do you think at this point it's reasonable to give Josiah or Joshua or anybody else more reps to try to find the success?
Yes, I would say yes. Give somebody the reps. As to whether it should be Josiah Trader, I don't know, because I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. At this point, I am completely flummoxed by that situation. Okay. Fair. Because I don't know what to make of it.
Okay. I will say then.
Go ahead.
I will give my direct answer, because I know that I gave a long preamble to that second question. I think that it's put up or shut up time for JoJo Trader.
Oh, well, and I mean, in talking to someone that knows him and his family very well, it seems like we're heading towards a red shirt. Well, it seems like we could be, depending on what happens in the next week or two, we could be heading to a red shirt / portal situation.
Yeah. Cool. You're paying him a lot of money in the portal.
Yep.
You paid him a lot of money. Oh, sorry. Not in the portal. You paid him a lot of NIL money as a recruit. You're paying him a lot of money with the expectation that he's going to be a top of the roster player. Yeah. It's time. It's time. So, I get if there are citizenship issues or whatever, just, personal performance and just comportment. But at this point, we need to win games.
All right.
And if you're going to keep him around on the roster, is the last thing I'm going to say, then it is incumbent upon you to play him to try to get that performance. When I was a teacher, I taught elite choir. We won competitions here, there, and everywhere. We were one of the best performing groups around. My best singer one year it was my second year at Miramar High School. She was very beholden to the previous director and didn't like something that I was doing structurally with the program. And she was actually chorus president. She was incredibly talented. My God. And she came in one day and she cursed a blue streak. You don't know this. MF that and da-da-da-da. That young lady, despite her talent, never set foot in my chorus room, never set foot on my stage ever again because of personal comportment issues and what she did. And I said, I will win when we will do this without you, right? Because I can't have you around. I said to say, if that's the case with JoJo Trader, get him gone now. If it's not, and he can abide and he's still part of this team, then you have to put him on the field and let it sink or let it swim, right? And if you put him out there and he can't do what he needs to do, he's not blocking, he's not communicating, he's late to class, he's whatever else, right? Fine, go your separate ways. But if he's here and you're just, I got this old Honda Civic from 1988 and it barely gets to the corner, but I got this nice new Lexus RS 300 But I don't want to. I just don't feel like it. Nah, dog. No, for me, it's put up or shut up time. And I think that goes for the coaches to get him in position to play, and JoJo to get himself right. Also, that's my thought on the situation.
All right, we still got, I think, 3 topics to get to, which means we're going to take a second break.
Oh my goodness! Good.
Yes, it's something we've never done before. I'm excited about it. All right, we're going to take another break. On the other side, 3 things to get to: penalties,
oh god,
coaching, which I may go hand in hand with the penalties, and 3, what comes next and what do we have to do? That and more on the other side. It's the Real Ones Canes podcast. Segment 3, something I've never said on the Real Ones Canes podcast. He is Cam Underwood from he's the managing editor of State of the U. Follow him on Underwood Sports. I'm Brian the Beast London. I'm from my house. You can follow me at Miami Radio Beast. I don't manage anything anywhere. I could barely manage myself. So there is that. Cam, we have to get to 3 more topics about Miami's loss last night to Louisville, 24-21 at Hard Rock. The penalties. According to my really terrible math, and not also there's a couple of holes in the game book stats that I question, because I know that I saw it with my own eyes, some penalties that aren't kind of there or something. I believe we have about 15 pre-snap operational penalties on the offensive line so far this season. And it's pissing me off. It was pissing me off last week, and now it's even pissing me off even more. And then there's like stupid personal foul situations, which I don't even want to like really spend a lot of time on, because I'll blow a gasket, even though we might have to spend a lot of time on. Go ahead.
Remember early in the season when Mauro Cristobal said, I really credit this team for being mature, for, Notre Dame or Florida, trying to do little dirty things after the play, but, not succumbing to those, not punching back, because, when you're the second player, you always get caught. Jacoby George with the, annual or, every game personal foul. Where's that team? Because I saw the entire interaction when Francis Mauigoa got his penalty for pushing a guy down, right? On like the first drive. The guy pushed him. And then Francis, like you do to your little cousin, little brother, kind of just, whatever. And then the Louisville DB deserves an Academy Award for the acting job of the flop that he had. But like, where's that team that is so has the steely reserve of personal comportment that doesn't do those things? Where's that team gone? Like, at this point, you either coach it or allow it. The penalties, you're just allowing it at this point. You had 13 against Florida State. You had another 8 yesterday. Like, you don't care. And it's fine if you don't care, but if you are not playing to a level that affords you the wiggle room to not care, then it matters. Because again, the 91 Cotton Bowl in Miami had 497 yards of penalties.
They changed the rules of college football based on that game.
The Miami, right. But not even because of the number of penalties did I bring it up. It didn't freaking matter because we stomped a hole through Texas that day. You know what I mean? So if you're out there and the other team cannot compete, fine. But if you come into the press conference, you talk about, well, the margins are so thin. And you
if every play matters, then you cannot afford to just take a 15-yarder. You cannot afford to move back 5 yards if every damn play matters.
I wish that I had a tambourine or my organ or something, because
Wait, do you have an organ?
I used to have an organ. I gave it away.
Like a pipe organ? Like a big one?
An electric. A Hammond organ. But like, and I wish I had it in the press box yesterday also, because, I mean, when he finally came back from his luxury suite experience at halftime, Brandon was Brandon the preacher was preaching to me, and I was like, okay,
I'm partially deaf, so I couldn't hear what he was saying, but I wanted to badly.
It was very understated and personal. And Cam, I'm going to just tell you this, and I'm just like, okay, Pastor, I mean, but just like you are absolutely correct. We don't have the margin for these things, and you continue to allow them to occur. Where is the retraining? Where is the penance paid for these things? Because players continue to do them because, I mean, by their action, coach, y'all ain't shit. Oh, sorry, excuse me. But you know what I mean? Like, they don't fear you enough to think, I better not do this. Otherwise, I'm going to get benched, or coach is going to whatever, or I'm going to have to run every single hill in South Florida. So if we go up the turnpike to the Sawgrass and we go over there, up that, embankment, if it's off of the turnpike extension just west of the stadium, there's another landfill there, hill. If we got to go out to Tropical Park, I'm going to run every single hill in this area multiple times because of that. But it continues to persist. So, and we've talked about it, and the coaches have talked about it. So it lands on your doorstep, Mario Cristobal. How you do anything is how you do everything. And it is unacceptable at this point that we continue to see these kind of penalties. Both the procedural from one of the more talented offensive lines in the country. I'm not going to say best offensive line in the country anymore, because I think that you have by your performance, have taken away the right to be called that, or given up your right to be called that. So you have those unacceptable, and then you have the personal comportment issues of unnecessary roughness and personal fouls. Unacceptable. It's not. I'm not going to say anything else. You guys can go back and watch the preview episode. I went on a rant about penalties, and they were worse and more time, and worsely timed this week than they had been previously. I don't need to say anything else. We got to figure it out. And you know what? With this talented roster, honestly, at this point, put somebody else in the game. I don't care who you are.
Yeah, Okunlola kind of moved forward in his stance, which was one of the offsides. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, dude, we're at home. It's not like it's not like you can't hear the snap count.
Also, I just want to point out that was on 3rd and 2, that then turned that into 3rd and 7, which was incomplete, and Miami then punted. So you have the direct negative result of that penalty, literally the next snap. So don't talk to me about, well, these issues are inconsequential. They're very consequential. And it's up to the coaches. It has to stop now. I'm not going to say anything else about penalties. What else do you want to talk about,
Brian? Coaching. Just
okay.
In general.
So what are your thoughts about the coaching? Where do you see positives, and where do you see areas for growth?
Okay, well, I will just say this. If we're just looking at last night's game,
mm-hmm.
both coordinators at times got outcoached, clearly.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of the fan base this morning wants to take the easy route and just be like, yo, man, Mario's a bum, blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to talk about things like penalties and how that comes from the head coach, okay, fine. I don't like, if you want to talk about clock management before the half, we can. First of all, I missed that because I was getting us food. Second of all, when I came back and we talked about it, you could, like, there's two sides to that issue, of that specific clock management issue before the half. I don't know that if you want to talk about, again, I'm making no sense. If you want to talk about the team looking kind of not ready for last night's game, okay, mm-hmm. That's on Mario. But specifically, like, can I point to, hey, Mario did this? Like, there was no knee that was taken last night, or not taken, I should say. Right? There was no absolutely boneheaded Mario decision that cost them the game. that's and I don't know that I'm going anywhere with this, but I don't even know how to.
Okay.
It's because all I can think about is my mentions and the absolute visceral crap that's being thrown out there about, well, Mario, this is Mario, fire him. Like, dude, I mean, you're just not watching the same thing.
And look, there are people who are or purport themselves to be fans of this team, but actually hate success. And they're just rooting for Miami to lose at any opportunity. And those are the ones who are talking about fire Mario. So fine. I will say the thing that, and I know, the time before halftime, to me, was a very clear chess move situation from both coaches. Had Mario called a timeout, I guarantee you Louisville would have went for it on fourth down and 2 or 3 or whatever it was. Might have probably gotten it because they had been successful in these situations. And then now you've given me, right? So like by Mario trying to stop the clock to get the ball back, you've actually, hurt yourself. Louisville goes and converts, and then they go for the jugular right then. And I believe the game theory was Mario said, okay, cool. If I do this, they're going to do that. So I would rather let them run the clock down, put punt safe out there on fourth down after that, get the ball back, take a knee, go to halftime down 4 in a game where you're -2 in the turnover ratio and only down a score. It could get worse. Let's just get out of here. Let's take it. Let's go to the locker room, figure it out, get moving. I understand why people wanted Mario to take the timeout and then go for it. Like, try to go up tempo and everything. But again, Beck had already thrown 2 interceptions. Are you really going to try to throw vertically right there? All of those kinds of things. So that's the only thing I will mention about that. But whole stock, this team was not ready to play at the beginning of the game.
Yeah,
that
fair.
falls on the coaches.
That's fair, yeah.
It just, they weren't ready. They weren't. And I know that you can say, well, yeah, we were ready. No, you weren't. No, you weren't. No, you weren't. Clearly, we're not. And that falls on coaching. And again, credit to Corey Heatherman for making some adjustments and figuring it out, because those first 2 drives, buddy, Jeff Brom was eating his lunch. We didn't have a chance. Hell. But yeah, he got it going. Eventually Miami did score some points on offense. And honestly, I don't necessarily even think that the play calling on offense was that bad. But at some point, Carson has to take the check down. Or look, instead of forcing the ball to Malachi Toney, maybe look somewhere else in the progression, because there's somebody else open. Like, there were a couple of times that, CJ Daniels uncovered, because they just said, look, as soon as he looks to 10, everybody in the back end run to number 10. That's where the ball's going to go, right? There were open guys in other places. So the play calling wasn't as bad, but at a certain point, you got to say, Carson, throw the ball here, or you got to stop.
Oh, yeah. I mean, 4 interceptions isn't Shannon Dawson's fault, right? And Carson's decision-making isn't Shannon Dawson's fault, although he's the quarterback coach, so that's a whole different concept.
It has a component to it, also.
Yeah, but how does scheming run game and calling run plays and that aspect of it, or what have you, that's a different story, right? We could get into that. And again, taking it back to the beginning, which was 7 hours ago, hey, we're not ready for that fake field goal. That's Mario. That's Mario.
I agree. And
it
goes back to
no matter
where I don't believe what he's trying to say.
Yeah, exactly. If you missed it, because it was 7 hours ago, Mario said, hey, yeah, we had the right call in for the fake field goal. We just didn't execute properly. And Cam and I agree. And that's a bunch of hogwash. That's what I'm saying. Okay, let's wrap this thing up by doing this. Miami has one loss.
Yes.
I don't know how far they're going to fall in the poll. It depends on what happens today. Today being Saturday when we're recording this and all this stuff. But they're going to fall because they lost to an unranked.
Lower than 8.
But they lost to an unranked team, so it's not going to they're not going to just fall 2 spots. Like they lost to an unranked team. Mm. This is what I said as I was walking out of the stadium last night in the little short that I recorded for the YouTube channel, which is it's Miami. They're not. Yes, they may put a 2-loss Notre Dame in the playoff. They could put a 2-loss Alabama in the playoff or Georgia or whatever. Mm-hmm. They're gonna find a way not to put a 2-loss Miami in the playoff. Like look, as you saw last year, they did not give Miami the benefit of the doubt to put them in the playoff. So you need to go perfect the rest of the way. And I'm already looking at the schedule going, at Pittsburgh, I don't know, it's going to be cold. Or at SMU, Rhett Lashley is going to scheme one up. Like, I'm already looking at the schedule going, I don't know.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, we're in a spot because, both Virginia and Georgia Tech have pretty light ACC schedules. Miami could prospectively go 11-1 and miss the ACC championship game because there are 2
which actually wouldn't be may not be the worst thing. Actually.
Yeah, whatever. But yeah, honestly, I predicted 11-1 with a random we shouldn't lose it game loss before the season. You can go check out our predictions on stateoftheu.com. I guarantee you I said it. If this is the we shouldn't have lost it game and we win the rest of them and go 11-1, I would be right, and we would be in the playoff if we made it to Charlotte or not. For the ACC championship game, that is. But as I always said, it is incumbent upon the University of Miami to perform to the level to earn victory. I said it before. I believe that this team is better than Louisville. It took the single worst game of Carson Beck's career to lose by 3.
Oh, and the Braun brothers going into their bag like crazy. At one point, Brandon said, "I think 5 different guys have taken a snap."
They had on the first drive or in second drive, they had 3 quarterbacks on the field and then motioned them around, and but it took -3 on the turnover ratio. Excuse me, and 4 total turnovers, including the last offensive play of the game. And it took all of that to lose by 3. Even with a running game that was anemic at best, even with penalties, even with all those things, it took that kind of performance to play down to and below the level of our opponent. A very good opponent. So I'm not trying to say that they're the dregs of the earth. They are not. I hate them like they are. But Louisville's a good team. But it took that kind of negative performance to lose by 3 at home. So it is incumbent upon this team. It is, Mario Cristobal was visibly pissed, audibly pissed after the game. And, being asked, how does Carson bounce back? He said, this is how everybody, there's no choice. We have to move forward to the leadership.
He said,
I'm sorry.
He said, that's what men do.
Well, then, are we a group of men or are we not, Mario? And attitude reflect leadership, captain. So if you want to talk about this program has the demeanor of the coach, when every week we've heard all of the players say so many different phrases that are clearly imbued into the foundation of this program, right? How you do anything is how you do everything. We're just working on all the things that Mario has said. Like, it is pervasive in the locker room, right? If we don't blow the doors off of Stanford next week, something's wrong. Blow the doors off. But beyond that, you have to show and prove at this point.
Yeah. So there was talk deep in the bowels of Hard Rock Stadium last night of Hope we don't James Franklin this one next week against Stanford. Because and I said this walking out of the stadium, which is again, we have to have this discussion of, will Miami let one loss just be one loss, or is Miami going to let one loss be more than one loss? Because in the past, one loss has turned into 3 or 2 or however many.
Or 4 if you're Mark Richt in 1 year.
Correct.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Let me ask you this, because I believe this is the case, but I just want to get your like the team that Miami played last night was the best team that they were going to face from last night to the end of the season.
Probably.
On paper.
Probably.
Okay. It makes me feel slightly better, but not much.
I mean, SMU is probably close, but I would take Pittsburgh. I'm sorry. I would take Louisville over them. Pittsburgh is probably closest. So I think that Pitt, as currently constructed, Pitt is very analogous to Louisville. So I think I would put Louisville at the top of that group, but it's like a 1-1A kind of a thing. So, yeah. But again, it's about us. It's always been about us. That's always been my viewpoint. And I know, if you're newer to me, because I've only been hosting this for, with you for a little bit, but I mean, I've been hosting other podcasts. I've been with State of the U for over a decade. Like, it's my viewpoint has always been, if we do what we need to do, we'll be all right. And we did not do what we needed to do because we gave away the goddamn ball. Also, I just want to take a pause for the cause.
Yes.
Way at the end of the show. The biggest credit to the defense is that Louisville scored 0 points on Miami's turnovers. 0 points.
You know what? I hadn't even thought about that, but you're right.
And I'll really call it on the 3, because on the 4th turnover, they were just kneeling it out. But on 3 live drives after turnovers, goose egg. If you want to look at a performance that is credit to Corey Heatherman, that is credit to the defensive players, that is credit to everybody on that side of the ball, because they said, quick change, offense gave the ball away again, they shall not pass. Shout out to Gandalf. But you know what I mean? Like, they did an incredible job allowing 0 points.
What?
You've never seen Lord of the Rings?
Nope. Or I've never seen the Lord of the Rings. I've never seen Harry Potter.
Me either.
I've never seen Breaking Bad. There's a whole slew of them. Also, it is Saturday. We're wrapping this up around 11 a.m. Saturday. I've got to go deal with a kid who's in New York right now at a film competition, and was at on a boat cruise around New York last night after they wrapped up their shooting to celebrate the end of their shooting of their 3 days of shooting a film. And his favorite artist came on the DJ system, Tyler, the Creator. So he started bouncing around the boat. And what did he do? Oh, he stepped on someone and messed up his ankle. And so now he's at an urgent care somewhere near Times Square, dealing with that. So I'm gonna go deal with that situation. But then I will get this episode up, and then I look forward to everyone commenting and having at it, because we just gave you almost an hour and a half of hot takes. So have at it with us. Subscribe. Keep it locked with us. Continue to go support Cam's work at State of the U. Continue to support my work at home as I deal with a kid who my kid does not dance. He just decided he was in the moment, and Tyler, the Creator, came on the speakers. So he decided he was going to dance, and that did not bode well for him. So I'm going to go deal with that, and we will deal with you later in the week as we get ready for Stanford. Thank you, everybody, for watching and listening. We appreciate you. We'll see you next time right here on the Real Ones Canes podcast. Peace.